friend shared with me recently that she was having some problems in her relationship, and based on what she said, as well as a few things I've seen with this particular person, I had my suspicions that she's probably dealing with a narcissist. Now, luckily, my friend told me that she recognizes the narcissistic traits of her partner. Sometimes when you're in the relationship, it's hard to work that out because they're pretty manipulative characters. So I wanted to make this video to help everybody be more aware of the signs to look for, because trust me, if he or she really is a narcissist, you probably want to get out of there sooner rather than later. I'm Dunn. I'm a clinical psychologist, a coach, a mindfulness meditation teacher, host of the Crappy to Happy podcast, and author of the Crappy to Happy books. And I'm here to help you overcome the barriers that get in the way of you living your happiest and most fulfilling life. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe, give me a like, and hit the bell to be notified of when I post new videos every Tuesday. Let's get straight into this. How do you tell if somebody's just a bit cocky, a bit self-involved, which, let's face it, is not that unusual in today's world full of reality TV and social media influencers, or if you are really dealing with somebody who might have a narcissistic personality disorder? So first of all, as a psychologist, I need to say that there are some very specific criteria that determine if someone can be diagnosed with NPD. And there are many, many people who have narcissistic traits which occur on a spectrum. We all have some of that, but who may not necessarily meet the diagnostic criteria and couldn't qualify for a diagnosis of NPD. That actually needs to happen in a formal clinical assessment situation. It's not for any of us to decide. But truthfully, it's more helpful to know the kinds of day-to-day things that you can expect to see with a narcissist. And two things I want to say up front before we even get started. One is that narcissists can be charming, charismatic, popular. I think we often see the worst aspects of narcissism played out on TV and in business and in politics, and we assume that these guys are unlikable, that they're vindictive, and that you'd spot them a mile away. In actual fact, when you first meet them, they will make you feel like you are the most special, amazing, important person in the world. It's very, very easy to fall for the charm of a narcissist. They are very good at what they do. And the second thing about narcissists is that they only really value other people, including you, for as long as you are giving them supply. And supply refers to the narcissist's need for attention and admiration. You're either propping up their ego, making them look good, meeting all their needs, running around doing favors for them, or else you're basically worthless to them, and they will discard you in a hot minute when you become worthless to the narcissist. That being said, let's run through 5 signs to look out for if you think that you are possibly in a relationship with a narcissist. And the first one, which I already alluded to, and that is in the early stages of a relationship, they will love bomb you. This is part of a very typical process. It's a typical pattern. It's also known as the idealization phase, where they will put you on a pedestal. They will tell you that you are the most amazing, beautiful, special person that they've ever met in their life. They'll convince you that you are soulmates. And it's pretty much like the honeymoon phase of a normal relationship, but it will be intense. It will be accelerated. They might talk about engagement and marriage very early on. They will find out everything that you love, and they will convince you that that's all of the things that they want in life too, that they've waited their whole life just to meet somebody like you. They want everything that you want, and it will feel wonderful to be loved so much. Or you might think, maybe things are moving a little bit too fast. The fact is, none of this is real. Like I said, this is the first stage in a very typical cycle for narcissists. The second sign, which often occurs during this love bombing phase, is called future faking. This is where they will promise you something in the future in order to get what they want in the present. So it could be that the engagement, the wedding that they promise you or that they're dangling in front of you just never happens. It could be that you agree to buy a house in a particular suburb, or you want to have a holiday somewhere, or there's something else that is important to you, and they'll talk about it, and they'll come to the open homes, and they'll pick up the travel brochures, but then they will do absolutely nothing to turn that dream into a reality. And you might think that you've agreed on this goal together, you might be excited about it, but they've just told you what you want to hear in order to keep you on the hook, to keep you where they need you to be. So let me know if you think you've ever been subjected to the future faking. Have you ever had somebody promise you all of the things that you want in the future, and then they never, ever, ever make progress towards them? And then if you have a fight, if you say you're leaving, you've had enough, then the future faking comes on 100%. Suddenly, all of those things that they know that you want, they will start to promise you. They will have an overnight epiphany. Suddenly, let's do these things. And this is all designed just to get you back on the hook. And the reason they can do this so effectively is because they've got under your skin and they know exactly what it is that you want. The third sign is devaluing. And this ultimately leads to potentially discarding, which can be brutal because you may not see it coming and you will very quickly be replaced if they discard you. But after they've successfully got you on the hook with the love bombing, then the narcissist will fairly quickly begin to show his or her true colors. And the devaluing might be subtle or it could be glaring. It could be a nickname that they've got for you that's just a bit insulting. It could be backhanded compliments, a very condescending tone, dismissing your point of view. It could be being passive aggressive, or it could be worse. They might start to belittle the things or the people that you care about. If they pretended to love all of the same things that you love in the love bombing phase, you'll soon see that that was all a lie. They're not in the slightest bit interested in anything unless it is 100% about them. It is all about the narcissist. They might give you the silent treatment, they might be moody. The thing is though, it's not always bad. And there'll be enough intermittent reinforcement with the narcissist. Sometimes they're lovely and they're charming, and you're always left holding on to this hope that things might improve, that things could go back to how they used to be. And what's most worrying is you might think that if you just behave in a certain way, if you change, then things will get better. But these problems are not your fault. That is just what they want you to think. You will feel like you are on a roller coaster with the narcissist, and then they'll tell you that you're being overly sensitive, you're being too emotional, that they were just joking. And what they're essentially doing is they're chipping away at your confidence and even in your own trust in your ability to know what's real and what's not. This is also known as gaslighting, which leads me to the fourth sign, which is the narcissist cannot tolerate any kind of criticism at all. In fact, if you do or say anything that the narcissist perceives as undermining their position, their authority, challenging their self-perception that they are uniquely entitled and special, and therefore, in other words, if you damage their massive ego, you will cause a narcissistic injury, which potentially sends them into a narcissistic rage. Narcissists always have a sob story. They've always got a reason for their hang-ups. All of their exes were crazy, their ex cheated on them, their ex treated them badly, used them, whatever. Nothing was ever the fault of the narcissist. So if you find yourself explaining away someone's bad behavior because of their past history or their trauma, it could be wise to consider the possibility that this is actually a narcissistic injury. And the fifth sign is that the narcissist is never, ever, ever wrong, and they will never, ever, ever, ever apologize for anything. Even after they have flown into a rage, you might see things go back to normal, but you will not see an apology. Every problem is your fault. You cannot reason with them. You cannot bring your point of view to them so that you can have any kind of healthy discussion with them. You don't argue with a narcissist. In fact, they don't have so much as a two-way discussion with you as they do just educate you on how things are according to the world of them. Narcissists have no capacity for empathy. They can fake empathy to get what they want, but they don't actually care. They have no compassion, they're not kind, and this is the hardest thing to accept because it will cause you to question yourself and question your own judgment. Leave me a comment below if you've had this experience and you've been left questioning yourself when really you've just been the target of somebody else's manipulation. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Let me know in the comments which idea you found the most useful. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos every single Tuesday. Have a great week. I will see you same time next week.